Hello and welcome, everybody. Sorry, I'm still struggling from some allergies today. We have a very disturbing, to say the least, article today from Project Veritas. So, this was released yesterday, late in the day. So, Texas ballot chaser pursues voters to change vote from Karine to Hagar. Karine being a Republican to Hagar being a Democrat. That's my job. I can honestly say I'm bringing at least 7,000 votes to the polls, said Gaza or Garza. Garza gave her a $2,500 gift budget. All right. I'm not going to read all her quotes and all the quotes from that. You can go to Project Veritas and look up Texas. You just type in the word Texas, it'll be the first thing that pops up. If you want to read all the notes about, or basically it's just her conversation with the undercover reporter. She talks about how she splits up where the ballots go to reduce suspicion. But the biggest thing is that budget. This right here. This budget gifts. Alright, so this woman literally pays people for their votes, and she runs a little racket on elderly people. People who, for the most part, probably don't get a lot of interaction from their family, things like that. We all, sad to say, but a lot of the elderly, they don't get as much attention as they probably deserve. We all have lives. Our day-to-days just keep going and going and going, and the elderly are just sitting there without much to do because they're retired. So a woman or a man or whoever comes and, pays attention to them, takes them out to lunch, things like that, they'll have them, this woman has them vote, watches what they vote on their mail-in ballots or their absentee ballots, and then tells them, oh, wait, hold on. Remember, we were talking about that earlier. You're going to vote Democrat all the way down except for this person. And then if they mark something wrong, shows them how to change it correctly, things like that. But they're literally pushing these elderly people. Some of them probably maybe have uh, early signs of dementia, things like that. It is absolutely 100% terrible. And the worst part is, this dude right here, Garza, that's a Republican. It makes zero sense. He's getting his votes, right? But this Republican is not. It's changing to Hagar. Corin is changing to Hagar. So that's a vote for a Democrat, and that's for the Senate. So there was a lot of like, what the heck is going on in Texas when it started to seem like it was flipping to that it's flipping to blue. The reason being is she's not the only one. She is not. She is just one of many. And there, I'm sure. Now, Project Veritas hasn't said that they have any other information, but the woman talks about there being. There's two people in this. There's Rodriguez, and then there's. There's Rodriguez and. Joanne Ramon. Both of these people are doing the same thing. That's two people with 7,000. That's 14,000 votes that were changed that we know of. How many more people are out there doing this crap? This is what. And I hate, because I don't like propagating hysteria or anything like that. But this is what Trump was talking about when he would always say fraud, fraud, fraud. When we're like, well, for the most part, it's not really fraud. It's just, people doing dumb things like, lazy postal workers, things like that. But nope, there's actual fraud out there. Veritas, again, good job. There's a whole video. I'm not going to show it. It's about 18 minutes long, where he talks about it. You get where it's written here in quotes. It's the actual video of her talking to him. So, where's the defense on this now, Democrats? When you constantly go out of your way to say, oh, no, that's just stupid, Trump. There's no voter fraud, blah, 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 blah. No, there is. And it's specifically going on in a heavily red state that hasn't voted for a Democrat since in like almost 50 years. Yeah. They have not voted for a Democrat. They have not. Their color has stayed red for about 40. What is it? 44 or 45 years, something like that. Almost 50 years since their states turned blue. It's despicable, to say the least. This is what we worry about. And this is very disconcerting. So what does this say to me? And I'm using this as a when I read this and I watched the video and everything, it says to me that the Democrats aren't the only ones who hate Trump. Now, we knew that from the get-go. When Trump was very first elected, they're like, well, we're not going to work with him. And, the Republican Party stands with the Democrats. Because they just didn't like what he represented. Because he's not an actual politician. And they don't like that. For whatever reason. They just really, really, truly do not like it. And, you can say what you want about Trump. He may be a bit outspoken incorrectly. He kind of shoots off the cuff 90% of the time. He doesn't have that decorum feel that they're so used to having. Although it does seem to be contagious, because if you like AOC, she is Trump Jr. She's just a Democratic version of Trump. That is all she is. In fact, she's 1,000 times worse, because she sits there and uses what isn't even like a actual ability, just because she doesn't look like, a shriveled bag of old hag. In my opinion, she's got creepy eyes. Not my cup of tea. However, that is what she's using to get reelected. She's got how many millions of support, followers when she gets on her Instagram and stuff like that, does little videos. That is not a politician. She spends ungodly amounts of time doing that. How about she spend some time actually doing her job? Trump too, get off Twitter. Trump, leave Twitter alone for a little while and get everything done. Now, mind you, that man has a schedule that is downright scary as far as his jumping back and forth different states. He's like going from state 1 to state 2 to state 3 to state 4, back to state 1, back to state 2. He's all over the place. That man, I don't even know how he is still standing. I wish I had as much energy as him at 74. Holy crap. But this just shows that, you cannot disavow something just because it seems ridiculous. Because then you have people like Project Veritas, which I give them great credit for doing the things that they do. Thank them for, going out of their way to make sure that at least it's brought to light. Now, the social media and Twitter and CNN and all the big media companies, they don't want to go near this. They want to be miles from this all the time because this this is going to be big. So here's the thing. Now that this has come out, they have to undo it. And then I'll tell you what I mean by that in just a second. This has to be undone because if it's not, if Texas flips blue, we are in there will be only one way the presidential election will be decided, and that will be in the Supreme Court. And I'm not even joking. Because if Texas flips blue, this information being out there, nope. There's like two options for this. One, it goes to the Supreme Court, or two, we have to redo the election. Not even joking. That's the only outcomes that there can be. In my personal opinion, Texas needs to stop right this second. Shut everything down, take every single ballot, you throw it in the trash can. Because you don't know how many people and you don't know which ones. With the exception of those who voted in person, obviously. But every single mail-in ballot, every single absentee ballot, trash can. Send them out again. Petition the courts to say, hey, we found this is information we have. We're taking steps to undo this right this second and make it military members exclusion, but mandatory. You have to vote in person or you're not voting this year. Or now mind you, it's going to take a little bit more on Texas' side. Now mind you, they allowed this to happen, and I think every bit of it should come out of Garza's pocket. That you're going to have to send people, actual certified poll watchers, cops even. Cops would be my recommendation. To go to all the nursing homes, all the places where there's registered voters who have to be absentee because it's hard for them to get to the, you know what I mean? All that stuff. You send them there. You allow them to fill out their ballot, and then the police officer then takes it, or what court-appointed individual who's under an oath, where there is a direct chain of custody. Because for this to happen in the United States is despicable. And as quick as they are about it and the way they're talking about it, this is not the first time. She talks about having done it last time, but it didn't work. There wasn't enough. So they've ramped up their productivity. So basically what it's telling you is Clinton was doing the same thing, but there wasn't enough at that time because they didn't think that he was doing well enough for that to matter. It's not a joke. Like, and if you think it's only happening in Texas, you're wrong. And it needs to be sussed out. There needs to be a kibosh on absentee ballots minus military members, and we have to figure out something else. If it's a matter of, individuals who are elderly and things like that, maybe it's time we take steps to get their votes to them in a better way. Like I said, the whole certified voting individual, or just take and put up like little 4-booth voting booths or something like that in nursing homes, and a transferable one. something like that. That's more, well, even now they're not that hard to set up. They're all self-contained. They kind of fold up into these little bricks, and then you just deploy the It's like a folding table at your house, the picnic table that you take when you go camping or something like that. That's all it is. But it's got a computer in it that has a plug, and then even the 4 little garter walls, those all fold up on top of themselves. But yeah, so that's what needs to happen. Something to that degree, because there's obviously a major hole in our security level when it comes to elderly people. And that was the biggest majority of the mail-in of the voter fraud. There's also one where they're talking about felons who have the ability to vote, and they're basically being paid for, because the felons don't care, right? It doesn't mean, if you have a minor offense that you shouldn't be able to vote. That's not what I'm saying at all. I believe everybody has a voice, even those who have done wrong in the past, but now have, changed changed themselves. Those people can vote in person. Absolutely, they can vote in person. There's nothing stopping them from voting in person. If they can vote via mail, they can vote in person. So if you aren't on disability in some way, shape, or form, be it Medicare, whatever it is, if you aren't on a disability program or you aren't deployed in the military, you cannot get a mail-in ballot. That is what has to happen. We have to go back to the way things were. I'm sorry, it may be inconvenient for you. In Oregon, I know you've been doing this for years, but I guarantee you, because I have been all over that state, lived there for many years, it is 90% of that state is red. There is a giant blue line that runs along the coast. There's 3 cities on the coast that vote blue, and that's it. Well, with the exception of one city in Oregon, in Central Oregon now, that has always been hippy-dippy, but it usually falls red anyway, because most of them are so high that they forget to go vote. That's a joke, but not a joke at the same exact time. I remember this. It took them, 20 years after it was first proposed to actually get weed legalized? In case you were wondering, 90% of your marijuana that is out there that comes illegally from the states, not from over the border and stuff like that, comes from Oregon. You may laugh, but that is 100% correct, because there's giant mountainous ranges that grow weed amazingly, because we have very warm summers with medium rainfall and giant forests to plant this shit in. They used to burn it all the time. You'd see large swaths of just these fields burned out. And that's what it was. That's what people did. Now it's legal in Oregon now, but it's been on the ballot since I was in junior high. It was the first time it was proposed. That's 26 years ago. Something like that. I was 12 or so. I remember my mom talking about that. 12 or 13 when my mom was talking about that. And that was a long time ago, folks. 22 years ago. Give or take a year or two. I don't remember exactly what grade I was in when I heard it. But I know I was in junior high. I can't remember if I was in 7th, or not junior high, but middle school. It was either 7th or 8th grade. I don't know which one it was. And oh man, I found myself on a tangent. But yeah, so that's when it was first introduced. It didn't get voted into law until 3 years ago? 4 years ago? The potheads and the blues, they don't vote for a reason. They don't care as much as you guys would like them to, as much as they would like you to think that they do. They just don't care. And I wouldn't be surprised at all if, because this is, they've been doing mail-in voting over there in Oregon for many, many years, and it always seems strange that they were blue, that the state was blue when the rest of it is red. Like 98% of that entire state is red, but the Portland and Eugene are blue. Those two cities, Portland, Eugene, it's like a long stretch. These cities all run into each other. But yeah, they're blue. If you had to equate it to like a human body, though, it's kind of neat. If you watch the I-5, everything the I-5 touches turns blue. It's kind of creepy. It's kind of fascinating. But I do, I'm off in here in La La Land. The main point is I wouldn't be surprised at all if Oregon is actually a red state, but it keeps flipping blue because this has been happening for 24 years now, since they started universal mail-in balloting. On the flip side, Oregon has had some of the highest voter turnout, bar none, per capita. We have far more people voting, and they vote in smaller elections. So maybe that's the big difference here. Local elections, sure, fine. Nobody's going through a length to make sure a certain mayor gets voted in via mail-in ballot, because nobody cares. I mean, in the long run, we care who our mayor is to a small extent. Okay? To a very, very small extent, we care who our mayor is. But it's not that big a deal anymore. Ever since they took it away from being appointees, small town elections, just nobody cares. It used to be that our Congress and our Senate and stuff were appointees from local government. It's not necessary anymore, and I understand that. And that's why you see big turnout for like Senate and for non-midterm elections. For basically when the president's voting, you see a lot larger turnout when you're voting for the president than you are anything else. Why? Because we've tried and tried and tried to get rid of these people, and it doesn't seem to be working. Take Portland's mayor. You have a moronic person who's pandering to all the liberals, or an actual Antifa member. These are the two people they have to choose from. Why? Because long ago, the Republicans stopped showing up. Republicans stopped showing up in Oregon to try to win votes because it just would not happen. In like Portland and there's just nothing there. There's independents and then there's Democrats. It depends on which style of crazy you want as to what you get. But so this is something that needs to be looked at in whole over the entire United States. Because it would not surprise me at all that if we did away with mail-in, that's what I say we do. Let's do away with mail-in voting for 8 years. Like not Trump or Biden's setup, but the following two spots, right? So when those come up, we get rid of it just after this election, because there's really no changing it at this point, if we're being completely honest, in right this minute. We do away with it entirely. No state can have it. Must be done in person or via absentee if you're disabled, and if you are a military member, deployed military member. That's key. A deployed military member or disabled, and the disabled ones get it sent to them, and then a official person comes and picks it up. An official chain of custody individual who is responsible for that ballot picks up the ballot. And only ways that you can do mail-in voting, but across the board, you must be in person. Now, that's going to reduce the amount of people who vote, yes. However, it's going to be people who care more about voting. That, in my opinion, is more quality over quantity. Let's put it that way. And anybody who says, oh, well, that disenfranchises the poor, no, why? It shouldn't. It should not disenfranchise anybody. Your boss is legally required to allow you to vote. Because there was a law, and that was put in law a long time ago, because there was a lot of fear that, like, oh, well, I'm the boss, and I know all these people are going to vote in somebody who I don't like, so I'm just not going to allow them to vote. I'm just going to keep them at work during when the polls are open, things like that. Oh, and that's another thing. We need to stop with this BS where voting booths are we're going to be open till 7 o'clock on, this one day. No. You motherfuckers are there 24/7. You have rotating schedules. We pay the government more than enough to allow this to happen. 24/7. From the time voting starts to the exact moment of cutoff. You are open. There's no other way around it. You are open you open 9 a.m. first day of early voting. You close at 11:59 on the 3rd. That's it. You are open from those times. We have more than enough people, and if you want to find people to do it, by all means, there is a massive amount of male employees who do absolutely nothing during those hours, who would love to have a little extra money, and they pay them well. I know a few, and they love their overtime. So you give them the overtime, I don't care how much it costs us. If it allows us to vote, because some of us don't work, we're asleep during the day, and we work at night. I do a lot of work at night, for you guys, mind you, so that I can give you content first thing in the morning. I have to record video. I have to record the background video. I have to do research. I have to vet this stuff. Now, mind you, I vetted in the most minimal way when it comes to Project Veritas, because they are kind of the sole proprietors of this particular information. There is no other way. But I trust them enough, seeing some of the other things they've done, and some other individuals who covered this, who I trust enough, who have contact directly with them, things like that. And we can proceed forward after that point. Like, I can trust it enough to say, okay, I will talk about this. But anyway, I digress. That is what needs to change. We have to do away with this mail-in balloting stuff. It is not safe, it is not secure, and it's already being manipulated. It doesn't matter who manipulates. I don't care if the Republicans are manipulating it or if the Democrats are manipulating it. It does not really truly matter. The fact that it's being manipulated is the issue. We should not and cannot allow this to happen. And I don't care what state you're in. Mail-in ballots should be done. Gone. No more. Legal mandate. I don't care. It has to end today, folks. The end of this election, never again. Because it is not safe. For the simple fact that with just $2,500, that's not a lot of money if you think about it. It might be a lot to me, because that's a whole nother, computer setup for me, right? So that's important to me as an individual, the whole amount. However, she's getting 7,000 votes for this amount of money. What? Like, how? Like, you're talking, not even you're talking $10 a vote. Tops, because she's getting paid too. She's using some of that for herself, and she's probably taking a bigger cut of it. So we're talking what? $700 of it goes to the people. So she's buying votes for $10 a person. Maybe. Like, that's despicable. And that shows you one other thing too, is that when it comes to you sending out universal mail-in ballots, most of those people don't give a shit. They do not care. By the way, that's my 2 curse words during this. I am now at my legal limit, so you will not hear any more, let's hope. I I get a little impassioned sometimes. If Family Guy can do it, so can I. But all right, folks. So that's my shtick on this. You can't. We can't be doing this. We can't allow this to happen anymore. If you want to actually read the article, I highly encourage you to go over to Project Veritas. Share this. Share this. Share this. I don't even care if you like or subscribe it right this second. This particular thing, even if you don't share my video, share the Project Veritas. It needs to be out there. It must get out. This cannot be silenced. This is very, very, very bad. Republicans, Democrats, whoever, I don't care. We cannot have this in our country. Alright, guys. As I stated, like, share, subscribe. Above all else with this one, share it, please. Please share this video with everybody you know. Toss it on your Facebook. Toss my video. If you toss the Project Veritas, you may find yourself locked out. Just a heads up. They are highly sanitizing this information. So be aware of that. I don't know. This video may never end up actually seeing the light of day. Who knows? Alright, guys. Thank you so much. Share this video with your friends and family and everything else. Check out Project Veritas. If you want to give it a shot, share their article. By all means, do it. People need to know about this above all else. Alright, thank you guys so much. We will see you guys next time. We will be streaming tonight. This will be the only news article again. I'm still trying to finish my costume. So I will be doing a slideshow over the time. Basically going over what I did for the cosplay or the stuff. I'm making myself an orc costume. It'll be fun. It's not going to be all the way done by the end of for Halloween, but I'll get a lot of it done. Thank you guys so much. Have a wonderful day.
The war is here! Use a silver mirror. Reflect the spell. Fight! Kill! Our lives depend on it! Boys! Time for slaughtering! Boys! Smash 'em!
The Lady's shield protects us from their magic! Beware! Foul eldritch thieves! What you want?
Help our legion! They may remember us in the after! Let's get to it, lads!
Send them back to their hell!
Show the lady our fervor!
Got it,
Stay close, lads!
Ready!
Death on the unbelievers!
Here we go!
That's it, lads! Keep fighting!
Smash him! Arrow boys! Yeah!
Lady forbid if we run! My arms ache! Kill them before they kill us! Get away! Send them back
This
to their
is
hell!
it! Shift aid! Run, boys!
They cast their curses on us!
Moving fast! Shift aid! Filth mess! Arrow boys! Smash 'em!
The king sees us with favor!
Let me help you!
This is the peasant's duty! Keep them at arm's length, lads!
The lady's shield protects us from their magic! The king sees us with favor!
Please, one more! Arrow boys! Slower! Come on in, boys!
Get away!
Time for slaughtering! Don't watch out! Time for slaughtering! Run, boys! Biggins! Quotcha! Super Jams!